Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to build this brand new villager breeder that works in 1.12, in 1.13.1 and 1.13.2 and in 1.14. If you want to build this in 1.13, then you'll need to raise these doors up by one level, but if you want to build it in any version of 1.12 and in 1.13.1 and 1.13.2 or 1.14, this will work as shown. So what happens is the babies, when you turn it on, that villager there gets into the range of the doors. You can now detect those 6 doors, which makes the doors valid, and it also means that these villagers think that the village that they're living in needs another villager. I think I'll explain this a little bit more later, but once they're fed, and they have to be fed quite a lot, they'll start getting into love mode, and they'll start making babies. Once the babies are born, they'll fall down into the water and then get picked up by this hopper minecart just here. There's a bit of string there and some tripwire hooks, so the baby will sit in the minecart bouncing backwards and forwards till he's big enough to activate the string. Once he activates the string, that sticky piston is going to retract, and the adult villager is then going to go off to be used in your farms or in your village trading hall or in your iron farm or wherever else you want him to go. Now I'm asked constantly, can you put more than 2 villagers in the pod? Now the short answer is yes. You can probably stick as many as you like in there, but there are a couple of things you have to bear in mind. Firstly, the more you put in there, the more food you have to throw them. Each one of these villagers, if you have a greedy villager in there, that his inventory has to be full of food before the other villager will get any. So if you put 4 villagers in there and 3 of them are greedy, you'll have to stick in 24 stacks of food before they'll even think about getting in the mood. Okay, so bear that in mind. If they're constantly throwing food to each other, it means you've got a greedy villager in there. You've just got to keep throwing them more and more food. Also, I did a couple of tests, and in testing in 1.14, 2 villagers will make 7 babies in an hour. I put 4 villagers in there and they made 9 babies in an hour, and I put 6 villagers in there and they only made 12 babies an hour. So the law of diminishing returns is in force in there. The more villagers you put in, yes, you'll get more babies out, but you'll get them out slower. I don't know what the reason is, but maybe it was just a one-off test. I don't know, but I found it more efficient to only have the 2 villagers in there. So I put in the chest everything you're going to need to build this thing. You're going to need your blocks of choice. You're going to need some stairs. You're going to need some slabs. You're going to need nearly 2 stacks of glass. You're going to need 6 ladders. You're going to need 6 wooden doors. You're going to need at least 1 piece of glowstone. You're going to need 1 normal piston. You're going to need a redstone lamp, a lever, 1 wooden trap door. You're going to need sticky pistons or a sticky piston, 7 powered rails, 1 detector rail, 3 redstone torches, a blob of redstone dust, a repeater, 2 tripwire hooks and a bit of string. You're going to need a dispenser, not a dropper. Make sure you use a dispenser. And you're going to need a hopper and a couple of chests if you want to store more minecarts. Now for the villagers to stand on, you can either use an end rod, which will negate the use of one of the pieces of glowstone. If you use an end rod, you'll only need 1 piece of glowstone. If you're using a piece of stained glass, a stained glass pane or an iron bar for the villagers to stand on, you're going to need 2 pieces of glowstone, 1 for the bottom and 1 for the top. So I'll just leave that there for a second so you can look at it. Now the area to build this thing, the main tower of the breeder is going to be 5 by 5 by 15.5 blocks tall, but you'll also need to add on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by, and I'm doing this on the fly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, an area of 6 by 7 along the back in order to put in a little safety area for the babies to stand in when they've been taken out of the farm, but they've not yet grown up to be an adult. Because if you don't do that, the babies are going to be vulnerable to attack by zombies and illagers and the like. So now you've got all your materials. You want to get yourself to the front of the farm, and you want to put 3 blocks at the front left, and then you want to put 3 blocks at the front right, like that, and then fill the middle in with your glass. And you want to go around to the right. Now you need to decide where you want the babies to come out of. If you want the babies to come out of the back left, you want to put 3 solid blocks there, 3 solid blocks there. The babies are going to come out through that corner. If you want the babies to come out the back right hand side of your farm, and it doesn't matter which side they come out of, it's entirely up to you, but if you want them to come out the back right, you're going to need to put blocks like that so they can come out of that corner there. They can't come out through solid blocks, so your rails can't go there. They can't come out through there because they won't be able to come through the corner. They have to come through the corner of the block, just there. Okay, so bear that in mind. We're going to have the babies coming out there, so we want the blocks positioned like that. And then you want to put 3 blocks there like so, and then just fill in the gap with your glass. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now it's as good a time as any to stick some lighting inside it. So as I mentioned, if you're going to be using an end rod, then you don't need this glowstone at the bottom, or a jack-o'-lantern or a sea lantern, as long as it's an illuminated block. In fairness, you don't even need that down there, but if you don't have it, it does get quite dark in there, and this looks much better if you've got some kind of light in there. So use glowstone if you're not using an end rod. If you are using an end rod, you don't need it. Then put yourself down 2 temporary blocks on top of that, and then put down your end rod or your iron bar or your pane of glass. That's going to be the block that the villagers stand on. Then you can break those blocks underneath it. You want to then stick a couple of temporary blocks on top of the iron bar like that, and then coming off the top block, you want to put some glass blocks there, and then exactly the same on top of it like that. You can then break those 2 temporary blocks underneath it. Now on the bottom block there, you want to put yourself down a trapdoor. It needs to make sure it opens upwards. It needs to be on the bottom of that block like that. Okay, and then you want to pop yourself down here and then stick some stairs all the way around the side of it like this. So now you've got something that looks a little bit like that. Now you may as well stick in your ladders. These are going to be your ladders that you're going to use to get up to feed your villagers. As I mentioned, if you want it symmetrical, you can stick them on either side. Okay, so it looks like that. Now this is where the fun begins, because you need to get 2 villagers in there, at least 2 villagers. I mentioned before, you can put more in if you want to, but I really don't think there's any point. But you do need them in there. So open the trapdoor like so, and then get your villagers up here using minecarts, using the water elevators, pushing them up steps. Just, it doesn't matter how you do it, just try and do it. And then you want to push him in the hole like that. Go on, fella. If he lands on the trapdoor, obviously just push him off. And then you want to put another one in next to him. I managed to get a farmer. Try not to use a farmer if you can get away with it. It'll still work, but farmers hoard food. And then you just want to close the trapdoor around them, and that way when you start throwing food at them, it's not going to fall down to the bottom, which means that they won't waste it, and also the baby villagers at the bottom won't get fed, which is really important if you want to use the babies in food farms, because you really want babies or villagers that have got nothing in their inventory, which is a beauty of these villager breeders. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now you want to whip out your blocks of choice again, and then you want to put a row of solid blocks around the top like that. And then inside there, facing upwards, you need to put yourself down a normal piston. Okay? And then at the front, bang in the middle, you want to put yourself down a lever. And obviously, when you press the lever, when you flick the lever, the piston is going to go up and down. And that's where your third villager is going to be standing. Now, you want to take out your glass blocks again, and you want to put you want to put some glass around the piston like that. You want to make this 3 high. So you've got that, and then you want to get another villager in there. Again, there are a few ways of doing this. I'm just going to spawn one and push it in because I can. There you go. Now around the top of that, you're going to have to put yourself some more solid blocks. And then bang in the middle, stick yourself down another illuminated block, either glowstone or a sea lantern or a jack-o'-lantern. It's up to you. Doesn't make any difference. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now take out your stairs again, and you want to put some upside down stairs at the top just there. And now you want to take out your solid blocks again, and you want to put some solid blocks down this side. You want to do that 2 high, and you want to do the same on the other side. And then you want to get yourself in the middle and take out your doors, and you want to be looking towards the front or towards the back, and you want to put yourself down 6 doors. Actually, I'm going to do it this way round. So if you crouch and get right to the very front and put 3 doors there like that, and then crouch, stand right over the very back and put another 3 doors like that. Okay, so they're like that basically. Now this is very important. Do not face left or right and put them down and then open them. Okay, it looks the same, but the doors are facing that way and it will break your farm. Okay, so make sure you're looking front and back when you place the doors down. Okay, when they're closed, they have to be like that. And then grab yourself your glass blocks again and put some glass blocks over the front and over the back like that. If you wanted, if in fairness, if you wanted to block those in completely and you didn't want to see the doors, then you can do that. Okay? But I like looking at the doors. Now, there's a common misconception out there that doors need direct access to daylight for them to be valid. That is incorrect. They do not need daylight to be valid. The doors can be in complete darkness. And I'm going to show you, because no doubt some of you will ask the question. I can put a roof over the top of this now. If I put a roof over the top of this now, these doors will still be valid. Okay, they're in complete darkness. There's no daylight getting to them at all, but they're still valid. And they're still valid because they've got a different number of blocks on one side than they've got on the other. Okay, so there's the door. That's the block with the door on it. On this side, it's got 1 block blocking sky access. But on this side, it's got 3 blocks blocking sky access. Okay, so it's got a different number on the inside than it's got on the outside. Therefore, it's a valid door. Same with these doors here. They've got 1 block on this side. They've got 3 blocks on this side. Therefore, the doors are valid. So they don't need daylight to be valid. They just need a different number of blocks above them on one side than they've got on the other side. Okay? But anyway, I digress slightly, but it's an important point, and I'm sure it's one that's very interesting to some of you. So we're just going to go back to filling these up with glass because I think that looks okay. So now you should have something that looks like that. Now you want to whip out your stairs again, and you want to put some stairs all the way around like that. And if you want to fill the middle in, then you can do. May as well while we're doing it. Again, the doors don't need sky access. They just need a different number of blocks on one side to the than they've got on the other. And then grab your stairs again. Put some more stairs like this. Block in the middle, and then put your little roof cap on. Now, if you wanted that to be flat, then you can make that flat, but don't start putting don't start putting blocks on the outside. Don't start making the roof any bigger. If you start making the roof bigger, then the doors are going to have the same number of blocks on one side than they've got on the other. You could invalidate the doors. Okay, so you can make that flat, you can make it pitched, you can make it sloped, but you can't make it any bigger than 5 by 5. Okay, I hope that clears that up. So now you should have something that looks like that. Right, so we're nearly there with the breeder. We've nearly done it. What you need to do now, the last couple of things, is get yourself down the bottom and stick yourself in some water. And you want the water to be on the opposite corner to where you want the babies to come out of. So as I mentioned, we want the babies coming out there. So our water's got to be in this corner. If you want your babies coming out this side, then you'll want the water on the other corner. So now all of the babies are going to be pushed into that corner, and they can be picked up by the minecart. Now we need to just jump up, climb up the ladders. That's what they're there for. And then you want to break out that block. Okay, so now you can start throwing food into them. And you want to throw them in a lot of food. Where's my carrots? Here's my carrots. Now, don't use beetroot. Do not use beetroot at the moment. Beetroot, they'll pick it up, but all it will do is fill up their inventory and they won't breed, and then they'll be ruined because they'll have an inventory full of beetroot. So don't throw them beetroot. And also try not to mix food groups. If you're going to feed them carrots, only ever feed them carrots. If you're going to feed them potatoes, only ever feed them potatoes. If you're going to feed them bread, only ever feed them bread. Because the minute you throw them a food, they'll put it in one of their inventory slots. So if you throw them some carrots and some potatoes and some bread, that's taken up 3 inventory slots. Okay, so try not to do that. Otherwise, it just limits the amount of babies they can have between feeds. Now, 2 stacks of carrots or potatoes thrown to this breeding pair of villagers will make about 5 babies, on average 5 babies. And it takes 12 carrots or potatoes per baby. So just throw them loads of food, I think is what I'm probably saying, in a roundabout sort of way. And now you're ready to go. All you need to do now then is flick it on. When you flick it on, that villager, he gets raised up and he's now within range of those 6 doors. But these guys at the bottom aren't. So although that villager can see these villagers, those villagers can't see these doors. So as far as this village is concerned, the 32 radius village, it's got 6 doors, it's only got 1 villager. Now, a village can support 1 villager per 3 doors. And because this villager's got 6 doors and only 1 villager, these guys think that they can make another baby because there's only 1 villager in the village. It makes sense to me. Although I'm probably not making it sound easy, but actually it really is. So now you've thrown them the food, you've created the village. All you've got to do now is sit and wait. Okay, so there we have it. It took a little bit longer than it used to do. It did. That took a good couple of minutes for the little baby to pop out, but he's finally arrived, and now he's going to wait in the corner to be picked up through the corner by the minecart. Where have you gone? There you are. They all look like little farmers, but they'll when they grow up, they'll change into whatever villager they're going to be when they've grown up. So now we'll put in the villager collection system, the minecart collection system that picks the villagers up once they're in the corner of the breeder. So firstly, grab yourself your solid block, your block of choice, and you need to put a solid block just there. And then you want to put a block there, and you want to put a tripwire hook on each one of them. And then stick a bit of string in between the middle. Then coming off the side of this block, you'll need a redstone torch, and then put a blob of dust down there, and then a repeater on 4 ticks facing that way, like that. Now off the side of this repeater, you want to be putting a sticky piston, like that. Now what you need to do is dig down 2 blocks there. Don't fall in it, otherwise you won't be able to get out. And then stick a redstone torch at the bottom, a solid block on the top of it. And then you need to put down 3 powered rails. There, and there, like that. Now what you need to do is dig out a little trench, 1 block deep, leading off of the end of the rails. And then here, facing upwards, you need to put down a dispenser. Now this has to be a dispenser, don't be putting a dropper there, it won't work. And then on top of that, you need to put down another powered rail. Then you'll need to get a detector rail, put a detector rail there, and then put powered rails leading off to wherever it is you want these to go to. But obviously you'll need to dig down a couple of blocks just to power these rails. So now you've got something that looks like that. Now grab a solid block and put a solid block on the face of the sticky piston. Now every time something comes through this tripwire hook, the sticky piston is going to retract, and the minecart is going to be able to go off on its way. So it's a baby sorter and a villager collection system. The minecart will just bounce backwards and forwards on that rail until it picks up a villager. In this case, it's going to be a baby villager, but it won't let it go until it's tall enough to go through that string. So now what you need to do is grab yourself some hoppers, or a hopper, and you need to dig that block out there. You need to put a hopper there, and then put a chest on top of it. And this is where your minecarts are going to go. So now just fill this chest up with as many minecarts as you want villagers. Now to get it running, you need to put a minecart on the rail. Now this is going to pick up the baby that's already in there, like that. But obviously it won't go anywhere now until the baby has grown up, which is fantastic if you're using my villager trading hall, because the villager trading hall, or my latest villager trading hall, doesn't like having babies in it, because it doesn't. So really you have to wait for them to grow up anyway. Now a word of warning, if you're building this outside, and most of you probably will be because of what I've said about the top, these guys are going to be vulnerable to attack by zombies or husks or the illagers because they're out in the open. So you may want to, and it's entirely up to you, you may want to put a bit of a frame around the outside of this. If you stick a column there and then you put some glass coming off there, then you could probably fill this in quite nicely, making it look nice and pretty without having to worry about husks or illagers or zombies getting inside it. And as long as you don't go up above the level of the doors. Just had another baby. Did you hear him fall down? As long as you don't go up above the level of the doors, then you don't have to worry about the doors being broken. But as I say, you can easily stick, and I'm filling in as waffling as I'm going because I wasn't expecting to do this. Just thought about it while we were filling it in. And then you can cover the roof over with an upside down slab so nothing spawns on it. Maybe stick a bit of light in there to light it up. But there you go. The guys in there now are perfectly safe and ready to go. So what we'll do now then is we'll just pop out this block here. Get rid of that little baby. Put the block back in again. We'll pick up another little baby. We'll get rid of him. And we've got another little baby. So we'll get rid of him. So now what I'll do is I'll throw in an adult baby, and hopefully we'll be able to see how this thing works. So if we lob in an adult over there, he gets picked up, and then off he goes, and then the minecart is then dispensed and it's ready for another villager. So once more, give it one more go. I missed it then. He was messing about, wasn't he? And I missed it. I'm sorry. Once more. I don't know why it took him so long to get down there. There you go. And off he goes. And it dispenses another minecart. And obviously if you want to pop out these blocks here so you can access your minecart, or you could have hoppers leading in there from a return station if you want to have a cactus breaking your minecarts when they come back again to automatically refill. That's up to you. Now the last thing I'll mention, again I should have mentioned this beforehand, but if you want to change this block out for a redstone lamp, then you can do. There's no reason why you can't. It also means that you'll be able to see whether or not the farm is on. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the brand new villager breeder. Now this will work in all versions of 1.12, and it will also work in versions 1.13.1 and 1.13.2. It will work in 1.13, but it won't turn off unless you raise the doors up by one more level. Okay, so if you're building this in 1.13, these doors need to be one block further up. But in 1.12, in 1.13.1 and 1.13.2, and in 1.14, this will work, providing that you don't have any valid doors within 64 blocks, providing that you don't have anything around the top of the doors that will invalidate the doors, providing you don't build it underground or you don't build it underwater, and providing the villagers are fed, this will work. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.